Hello, I'm Susan Jane, and welcome to this week's Intuitive Flower Readings, where you can see how your intuition is guiding you towards your emotional goals. Now, all you need to do is pick a number between 1 and 100, and you'll receive a free intuitive flower reading from me. Now, if you'd like to have your own complete flower reading, that comes in video and written format. So just book one using the link in the description below. But for today, let's get stuck into it. I'll get this up first so I can see the comments and move that one. So I have a couple that have already booked in, and I will do them first. But first of all, let's have a look at the moons. Now, I go by the moons because I used to have a 90-acre organic crop farm. I used to be a farmer. And I used to plant by the moon cycles. And I found that the plants did so much better when I was seeding at the right time. And I feel that because I do flower readings, that's sort of part of the moon planting cycles. And the other aspect is the flowers that we talk about are our emotional goals. So our goal is to achieve the flowers. So it all runs in line with moon planting cycles. And this week, we are in the first quarter and heading into the waxing gibbous, which will come through on Thursday, or Wednesday, Thursday. Now, the waxing gibbous, the moonlight is obviously the strongest because we're heading into a full moon. The soil releases the energy and the energy draws up. So this is an increase in growth, and we are sowing this week. We would be sowing fruit and flowers. So the goals we look at are, say, relationship goals and wealth goals. Now, where I want to focus and where I've changed things up a little bit is how I am looking at the flower reading. So you get a good reading. I need to have it succinct. So to do that, we're going to look at the Trust Mastery program. And the Trust Mastery program is going to be in line with what we're going to look at in the flowers. So this week with the first quarter, the waxing gibbous, it's all about self-confidence. So we're looking at, for the physical side, a self-appreciation. So we look at the list of successes. So we get an understanding of the distance we've actually come. So, we tend to, well, I know I do. I tend to put things forward and don't realize that the work that it's involved and how we've actually got there. I tend to take it for granted a little bit. So, good morning, Sal. Sorry, I didn't see you there. Give us a number, Sal. I haven't got yours down yet. And even if you can't stay, I'll pop it up and you can have a look after it. So the first, so we're in the first quarter, the waxing gibbous, all about self-confidence. We talk about the physical self-appreciation, the mental self-care, the emotional self-worth, and the spiritual self-reflect. And we're going to look at the different areas in there, and I'm going to succinct that to your flower reading this week. So I'm going to get stuck with Sally. Now, this is a little bit new. I only just had this done this week. And so I do want to get a good understanding of it. So I'm going to practice on you guys. Yeah, get free reading and I get to practice. So, and see how it all runs into line. That's what my biggest thing is just getting this succinct, get it all together. So self-appreciation is about the stem and the path, or our journey. And that's all that physical side of it. The mental side is self-care, and that's our leads and our guides. We need to understand our triggers, and we need to be patient and consistent. Self-worth is the emotional aspect, and that's our petals of attraction. So we've got to also see yourself from another perspective. So when we're putting out those flowers images on what we want, are we actually reflecting that back on how we are behaving and what we are putting forward? The spiritual side for self-confidence this week is self-reflect, and it is all about the center of the flower. So it's the love, the drive. And only you're in charge of yourself. No one else is in charge of you. So if you've got that drive, you've got that love, that determination to go forward, that's how you're going to do it. So let's, 25. 27 is strong. Okay, Sal, you're not really sure which one you want to go with. Come on, make a decision. You know what? The funny thing is that 25 and 27 are both portrait images. So it's all about you. So that's pretty cool. They've both got the same colours in them. Both got mauve. Both got purples in them. But come on. All right. I'm going to go with 25. That's what you picked first, okay? So here is number 25. I need to share the screen. Window. This is pretty. It's one of my favorite ones. And yet I don't even remember where the flower was, but this was one of my favorite ones. I really like this. I love the big roundness of it. It's so feminine and so pretty. So let's look at how that reflects in wrong one. How that goes with our readings this week. Okay. 3 degrees this morning. Oh, and I thought I was cold. Too cold to think. Oh my goodness. So Tassie's really copping it down there. Whew, that is cold. All right, so let's have a look at the physical aspect of your stem and your journey in the self-appreciation. So when we look at your flower image there, Sal, you have got a very straight path. It's a very straight, hang on, I'll bring this one. Very straight path going forward there. Nice and easy to get to. There's no decisions you need to make. There's nothing you need to look at. So when you start to look at your list of successes and how you've come to get to your goal, it's been very, very clear, very, very straightforward. There's not a lot of distractions. It's like, here's my goal. This is where I need to go, and you're heading straight to it. So there's no worries about that as far as that physical side is concerned. When we look at the self-love and the care, which are your leaves and your guides down the bottom. So down the bottom here, we've got, hang on, I've got dual screens, and you know what? I need more. I need 3 screens, I'm thinking. That's been greedy, isn't it? So the leaves are down the bottom here. Now, they're very, very physical in nature, and they're very masculine in nature. So what this one is saying with the self-care is that you need to be very clear on your self-care. It's not about the nurturing soft side. Oh, I'll do that when I've done this. It's like, no, I need to do that. And you need to set your time. You need to be very, very distinct and very, very clear about how you need to look after yourself this week. And it is actually of a physical nature too. We're not saying you need self-care in the spiritual side. It is definitely on a physical level. You need to be physically self-cared for. So have a look at that as far as give yourself a bath, like have a good soak in the bath, put the heater on, have a soak in the bath, do something to actually physically give you that self-care this week. And it needs to be physical, and it needs to be set. So it's got a masculine behavior. It needs to be set in place, not wishy-washy. Okay. Set it and do it. The petals of attraction are about your self-worth. And when we look at your petals of attraction there, they are huge. Your self-worth is very, very nurturing. It's very, very open. It's very feminine in that context. And we can pop down into the colors, and I look at mauve brings in a bit of a nostalgia to me, but it is also meditative. So that's another area of self-care. Maybe you need to have some time, make sure you're doing your meditation. And it doesn't hurt to sort of get a little bit nostalgic this week. I think the way things are going, we want to look at that side of it too. The spiritual one, which is your center and your drive, when we look at your center there, the drive is, when we look at the stamens and that, the drive you've got is it's almost like very in all directions. It's going everywhere. It's not like a sunflower where you have one big drive. This is my big goal. This is where I'm going. This is what I love. This is where I am. It's showing you've got lots of little loves and lots of little, sounds like a time for a massage. Absolutely. Lots of little drives and lots of little directions you're going. So you aren't as focused in that center. You're tending to look all over the place for that. So maybe when I see this one, as much as I love this little flower, maybe you need to actually come back into that drive. What is driving you? And if it is all these different areas, because I know I get a bit like that. I don't seem to have one big drive. I tend to have a lot of little drives that I want to do this. I want to do my painting, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. And it seems like that's what you've got there. That's what's happening this week. But as far as your self-confidence, I mean, you look at the flower in the whole and you go, oh, wow, you really got it. You got it all together there. It feels very confident. And your heart is open, but it is a little bit all over the place as well. So that is where you're going this week. When you're talking about your goals, we're looking at your relationship and wealth in this goals. Relationship looks positive because you've got two. Wealth might mean you've got two types of finances coming through there, two main areas, one big one in focus, and then you've got that other one in the background. So that is your Sal. I hope that makes sense. Make sure you get this week, it's at that time to really set your goals for your wealth and for your relationship. So do that before the full moon next week, next Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay, that is your Sal. I've got a couple of others and I will catch up with you after. I've got a couple of others I have to do, and they are for Margie or Margie. I'm not sure how you pronounce your name, but yours, let me take off Sal's. You chose number 36. I have been moving the flowers around a little bit too, so they're not all in the same. So, ooh, here's a pretty fancy one. Have a look at this one. This is yours, Margie. No worries, Sal. Okay, it is yours. And when I see this, I go, whoa, flamboyant. You're so out there. And I don't actually know whether that is really you. I don't know whether you are actually like that. In fact, I would almost say that you're a little bit more introverted rather than extroverted, which this is what this image is saying. So when we look at our goals and what we want to achieve, what that straight away tells me is that you need to be more out there. You need to be more extroverted. But let's go back into where we want to go. I want to try and get this succinct. So we're in the waxing gibbous, in the first quarter waxing gibbous. And it's all about self-confidence. And when you look at that image, self-confidence is saying, whoa, I have got it all together. You know, there's nothing there you've got hidden. There's nothing there that you are not afraid to show. So to me, your self-confidence in this image is really, really open and really good. When we break it back down again, when we look at the physical side, we go the stem or the path of the journey. Now, we can't see your stem in this image. We can see a stem in the background, but that's not for this main image. The stem would be in behind it there, which tells me that your appreciation, you don't need to sort of focus on that so much. You probably don't need to make a list of the successes you have. You are aware of them, and that's not relevant for you at this particular week. So again, we'll go to self-care, which are the leaves and the guides. Now, you have got a few leaves in there, guides down here. You've got the physical aspect. You've actually got a few in the spiritual and some coming through in the future. These ones are in the past, or you know of them already. So when I look at that, I would be saying with this one, we do need to make sure you've got your self-care happening in the physical context. So again, looking at how you can give yourself a little bit of self-care. Sometimes that's just having some time out. Sometimes that means having time out, massage, as Sally said, different things like that. So we have all those physical aspects there. You are actually got a little bit of spiritual guidance coming in. And again, these ones are very masculine in their shape, like your petals. They're very masculine in their shape. So the behaviors there need to be very, very direct and very, very to the point. So it's not about going, oh, maybe I'll do this. You know, that's what I feel like. No, it's got to be, okay, I'm going to do this and book it in and make sure you stick with it. So be really clear on that. When you're looking at your spiritual side of things, the spiritual guides you're going to be getting through, I would imagine, because this self-care is about being patient and consistent with yourself, it is also about knowing your triggers. I think you're going to get a few triggers coming through of a spiritual kind. So when we look at that, we start to go, okay, you may be getting thoughts or feelings or impressions that are triggering you. You know, I don't want to do that. I had it yesterday. I had a lady sort of say to me, my very close friend actually, and she said, well, you know, do you feel you're hiding? You're not putting yourself out there, because this was these TikTok videos that I was doing, and I didn't want to do them like this. I just wanted to do them as an image and talk about it. And she sort of questioned me and said, are you hiding? And it's funny, I didn't feel I was, and I've sat with that all day, and it was one of those little things, and it's like this spiritual awareness that was triggered, and I needed to sit with that and get an understanding of it. And maybe I need to even structure some meditative time around it, and give myself that space to actually receive these types of messages. But it was a message that was very, it sparked an awareness in me, and it wasn't necessarily of a positive kind. It was like I need to question myself about that. And that's what I feel you're going to be getting this week on that side of it. Now, your self-worth is about the petals of an attraction. And it's about seeing yourself from another perspective. Now, is that what we're looking at here, Margie? Because it looks like to me you are not an extroverted person. And I've only seen a few things on your Facebook page. But to me, you seem quite introverted. And yet this is saying you need to see yourself from another perspective. You need to see yourself as extrovert. You need to see yourself as being open and out there. And that's going to be a little bit challenging if you are introverted. But you can do that. That's not a problem. That is all about your self-worth. Your self-worth is so much bigger than what maybe you're thinking. The next bit is self-reflect, which is about the center of the flower. And this is about getting to know you. Now, when we look at the center of your flower, it is, hang on, I've got to over this side. It is you've got these very elongated, very, very open. So when we sort of start to go, well, your drive, your desire is going different ways. Your love is going in different areas and different directions, but it is very open. You're not hiding it. A bit like sales image, you're not hiding anything. You're open, you're out there, but it is going in slightly different ways. And that's okay, because that's what you need this week. So if you feel like going and doing a reading, do one. If you feel like doing a painting, do one. If you feel like doing something else that you know, a walk or something, whatever you feel like it. It's about getting to know you and being aware of those feelings and those impressions that you're getting. For example, over the weekend, I wanted to do painting and I didn't do it. I did everything else but sat down in my painting area and did a bit of painting. And by Monday, I was really kicking myself that I didn't do it. And this is what I see these flowers, this drive in this area in the center here, the love center, the heart center, the drive center, is about you're aware that you want to do something. You are the one who needs to put it in. And when we look at them long, it's again that masculine behavior. You need to set that place. You need to say it. You need to be strong and be almost aggressive towards it if you need to, but very assertive at least. So that is yours, Margie. And again, I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. If it's Margie or Margie, I'm not sure. But please, I enjoyed reading. That was a good reading. Thank you for that. Please apologise for all that. Now, the other one was Leah. Now, where was Leah's number? I've got it here somewhere. Leah's number was 21. Okay. So if you are watching and you do want to just put a number down, you can do that. We have the ability to do that. If you can't turn up to the lives, I get that. It's not easy to do. So feel free to pop a number down and you can always catch the replay later. So here is Leah's image for this week. And again, I'm going to go back through because I want to get this practice happening. I want to go back through the Trust Mastery program. So again, we're looking at self-confidence. When we look at the self-confidence in this flower, again, it seems very self-confident, very strong, very out there, very in your face. It is more of an extroverted personality. It is larger. So it is showing a little bit more self-confident. Now, just because we have this extroverted image, it doesn't necessarily mean we are self-confident all the time. We do have those times where we don't feel as strong and as confident. But let's go back into it again, and we will go through self-appreciation, which is your stem and your path. And we can see that there is stems and paths there, but we don't know if that actually is attached to this particular flower. It could be, I might have the image around the wrong way, but that is how it's presenting itself. So I would say that there has been successes there. They're in the past, and there are a lot of the spiritual side of the successes too, when you look at the top there. That is more of a spiritual success than if it was down the bottom, where it would be more of a physical success. So we're saying this, that you've had a lot of breakthroughs in this, and you need to give yourself a pat on the back for it, Leah. List your successes, see the distance you've come. And that's what we're talking about here. And if this is your stem to your flower goal, you have gone to the spirit first, and then you're actually heading towards now what is your physical goal. So really lovely way of looking at that. The next area we want to look at is your self-care. It's about being patient with yourself, being patient and consistent, and looking at your triggers. Now, they're the leaves and the guides, and in all honesty, you haven't got any there that are distinct. You have got them in the background, but at the moment for this week, it isn't necessarily about that. So you might have been looking after yourself a little bit more, and so you haven't needed to have this real distinct self-care awareness this week. So your triggers are going to be expressing that, and you'll be able to just go forward with that. I mean, there's a lot in the background there, but they're not as relevant to you this week. Your self-care is on track. Well done. The next part is your self-worth, and that's about the petals and the attraction. So when we look at our self-worth, we look at these petals. Now, most of them are generally the same. We have this little, I don't know, hiccup, a little different one on the side here that we start to look at. And we're sort of going, well, if we look at ourselves from a different perspective, as far as the petals and the flower is concerned, we sort of can see that we've got this little bit of an area here that's a little bit different. There's a little bit of a change to it, like, okay, this is what I'm attracting, this is who I am, but hang on, I've got this other little area of me that, people may not be aware of it. And they're the ones that you want to really look at, because that's your uniqueness. That is who you really are. Don't be afraid to show that. Don't be afraid to have that out there in the open, because honestly, I love it. I just think it just mixes things up a little bit. It gives them a little bit of a surprise factor. So when you look at people, when people are looking at you, and we're looking at how people see you in a different perspective, they may see this little surprise package. I didn't know you were in a band until just recently. So that's that lovely little surprise package that I was aware of. Other people might go, well, I didn't know you're into the spiritual side of things. So there's that little surprise package that you've got there that is really very, you've kept it small, you've kept it succinct, but it is very, it's very nice to sort of focus in on and zoom in, and it is attracting the right people. Now we will look at self-reflect, which is the spiritual side of things. So that was your emotional side of things. The spiritual side of things is the center and the love. So when we look at that side of it, we can see that you have got this lovely big heart center. There is lots of statements. There's lots of things that are going to give you that drive, that determination. But it is all quite well focused. It wasn't like the other flowers that were very extreme. Yours is still very feminine in its nature, and it's still very much focused. Lots of little bits and pieces there, but still, when we look at the heart center as a whole, it is quite big, quite feminine, and quite focused. So it is really good. And we can see that the color of that is going straight into this other odd little petal here too. So even the color of that petal is a little bit different in line with your heart center. So the heart center is all about getting to know who you are when we start to do the self-reflecting. So getting to know who you are, when we look at that, I can't see it on this side. I have to look on this one. I can see it better. When we look at that, is there's a lot of elements and a lot of areas external, and even when you go deeper, we have this more solid area inside. And when you look into that flower a little bit stronger, if you zoom in on it, you can see that these are these things that aren't yet fully formed. Okay, so it's the sexes of the flower, so the stamen and the oh God, I can't remember the name, but they're still evolving. So there's still a lot of drive and a lot of love and a lot of passion still coming through. So you're allowing some of it to come out, but the rest of it is still coming through. So you don't do it all in one big fast swoop. You're doing lots of little bits as they go along, as you're going through it. So again, back to the self-confidence, which is all about yourself, about the first quarter, and the waxing gibbous, relationships and wealth. So when you're putting your relationships and wealth, when you're starting to look at creating those goals, and you've got to do it this week, be really mindful that it is all about putting yourself out there. Now, that's going to be a bit challenging when it comes to relationships, because it means you have to express yourself and allow yourself to be out there. That could be a little bit awkward when it comes to wealth, because, for example, say you have to actually go to the boss and say, no, I want more money. That can be quite challenging, but it's about putting yourself out there this week. That's what you need to do. You need to stop being introverted this week and just become a little bit extroverted and get yourself out there for this week, okay, just to achieve those goals. All right, that was yours, Sal. Leah. And I think that's it for today. If you do want your own flower reading, if you want your own personal flower reading, you do get it in a video format. So I do record it like this, and you'll have your image and everything else, and I'll go right through the different sections in it. You'll also get it as a written format, as a PDF as well. But there's a link below if you wanted to book one for yourself. But that's it from this week. Hope I see you again next week, and we will do another quick flower reading next week. And thank you for letting me do it here on here. It's lovely. I'm getting a lot better, a lot more clearer in how I'm connecting everything, and I really appreciate you guys jumping in and just giving me numbers to help me. So it is really lovely. Thank you so much. But that's me for today. Have a good one. Sally, stay warm. Okay. All the best, guys. And oops, hang on. Let me press the right buttons. Oh, go away. Yeah, all the best, guys, and I hope to see you next week.